Local Women Magazine presents Local Women Podcast, the show for things that matter.
Hi.
Hi,
How
we're
are
back. Back for episode 2.
Episode 2. They didn't kick us off, so that's positive. we haven't been kicked off Local Women yet, guys, so that's a really good thing. How are you? How's your week?
I'm good. Yeah, another strong week.
Do you not find, though, especially as a business owner, by the time a Friday comes, well, might be a wee bit, because you might have to work on a Saturday, but I'm just exhausted. I want to sit in. I want to relax.
Yeah. I mean, you guys had us round for dinner and
Yes.
you had said, oh, I've got a bit of a headache. And I'm going, I wonder, is that a cancel on the cards? I would love to see you. I can't wait to come to your house. But if you cancelled, I'd be all right. I don't mind.
I
Putting on my
know.
cozies, just sitting on the sofa. Isn't that awful?
So funny though, because that day I said to you, I really do have a sore head, but I'm not cancelling. We still want to have you guys round. However, I'm just letting you know I will be in a hoodie, leggings and slipper socks.
Yeah, I turned on my slippers. It's
You
fine.
did?
It's fine. At least we're on
Do
the
you
same
not-
level.
Do you not think as a business owner though, you're so exhausted speaking to people by the end of the week that you just
Yeah.
need to not speak to anyone else?
Yeah, I find particularly in my job, you know, we are bringing people in and we're making them feel good about themselves. It's a very vulnerable space for a lot of people. So there's quite often a lot of really big stuff gets shared in that room. And sometimes I come away and I think, oh my goodness, am I okay? I need therapy now. You know, it's really full on. So yeah, by the end of the week, you just go, I need to tap out here.
There is a country in Europe, and I'm not going to quote it because I know I'll get it wrong, but I think it's their hairdressers and their beauticians are trained in counselling while they're doing their courses.
This makes complete sense to me. Complete sense. The amount of times people have said, oh, you should really be a therapist. And I think a therapist would charge more. They get paid better
That
to
could
do
be
what
an
I
add-on
do.
service.
Listen, we're on to something here.
That could actually be a really, really good add-on service,
Yeah.
2 for 1.
Yeah, 100%. Do you want me to sign a form that says I won't share this information with anyone? I wouldn't do that anyway, but you know what I mean.
No, absolutely. But you do, because obviously you do my lashes, which I absolutely love, and I always get them done religiously.
We're ready for an infill though.
We are ready for an infill. I'm with you on Friday. But I find whenever you are lying down, eyes closed, chatting away, you do just let more out.
You do. You're in a safe space. So, and you know, we keep coming back to the fact that we are business owners. You just don't always get an awful lot of time for yourself to just be open and vulnerable because you're on the go. You know, you're there for everyone else. You're doing all the things. You're ticking all the boxes. So sometimes you get yourself into that space and you do just open up.
Yeah. I have actually found in our beauty salon too, the girls have had a few clients have disclosed to them that they've maybe been sick or they've had things going on in that way because they haven't want to tell their family members. They're still trying to digest it themselves and they're in that safe space. And I just think that is such a privilege, such an honor that people feel that safe to
It
do
really is one of the, it's very indescribable is how I would say it. You know, you do just, I go home all the time and I say this to my husband, you just don't realize how important that is to some people. You don't realize, you know, until it is, I'm having a baby or, you know, I've lost a loved one or, you know, or they are checking in on you during your hard times and you suddenly go, God, we've really built something very important. You know, these relationships.
Yeah, you've really built a bond, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So Valentine's as a business owner then, how was it? Because obviously certain industries are very busy, others are very quiet. How did you find it?
Do you know what? I can't report any massive changes that I saw. You know, we are very fortunate to be able to sustain our business right throughout the year.
Yeah.
We are very, very lucky that we don't tend to have, you know, slow spells. Of course, you know, you've got the summer. We are a beauty salon, so we will have certain peaks, but it's not to the point where we're pulling our hair out, you know, assessing whether we need different careers. It was lovely. You know, it was busy.
Steady.
Yeah, it was steady. So
I've really found that this year because normally in January and most of February, our beauty salon is super quiet.
yeah.
Like we are nearly always loss making if we're really honest about it, or break even stage. You know, people aren't jumping in for their treatments as much as what they were coming up to Christmas.
People
This
are
year is
on
different.
sort of a spending recovery, aren't they? In the first few months of the year, people have got Christmas out of the way and then they're going, oh dear.
Credit cards to
Oh
pay.
dear. But yeah, I think what we do and we do it well is that we market our services as luxury services. So I think, you know, I like to try and damage proof before quarter one hits, so that we're not in that position where panic mode hits. I don't know about you. Do you are there any strategies 100%. That you do have?
So we always have our cash flow projections done, that we know what money we need to set aside. So we do a thing called profit first accounting. I don't know if you've heard of this. No, it's such a geek, right? I'm so into this.
Should have.
No, so profit first accounting, you basically, any money that comes into your account, you split it off into separate pots. So you'll have your bill money, you'll have your tax money, you'll have all into different accounts. And that way then we know we're okay for the whole year, that when we do have those quiet spells, we're okay. And when we have our busier spells, we're not spending all that money and leaving ourselves short for the rest of the year.
Maybe I do this, but just without the fancy name.
More than likely. You will have those separate pots and you'll not even realise.
Obsessed with doing that, just put a wee bit in there, put a wee bit in here,
because that
so
was
it has
something.
A name.
Yes, profit first accountant. Please don't ask me to name the man, because his surname, I would make a hash job of that. But absolutely incredible. You can look it up. There is a book on it. But we have done that because very early on in our first ever business, in our plumbing and heating business, we had a massive cash flow issue where Carl and I obviously founded that business together, and we messed up our cash flow really bad, and thankfully we came out the other side of it. But oh my goodness, that was so scary.
It is scary. And look, I've been there before, especially in the early days. December is crazy busy for us. You've got everyone in for their Christmas parties and everyone's getting dolled up, and you're literally back to back. If you're working maybe 13 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's a reasonable week at Christmas time. So I have been there, and where I've gone, oh my goodness, look how cash rich I am. And then I spent it all, and then January has come, and suddenly we're going, oh no, how am I going to pay for the bills? How am I going to restock on my products? All of these things, which is why now, as I've grown with the business, I've gotten much better at sort of planning for these things. But it's such a learning curve when you're in the middle of it. Sometimes you just go in a bit blind and you don't know what you're doing. But you really have to protect yourself.
And you have started up a new phase in your business recently. You are going down the training route now?
Yeah, an education path for me. So it's something that I have always loved doing. I love to talk. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. I just love to help people. And I, coming from a background that I came from, and we don't really have an awful lot of support around us when it comes to bringing up our family. So having a career that's given me so much freedom and so much flexibility is something that I would love to share with people, other women in my position. So yes, I have moved into education, which, if I'm being really honest, on the whole topic of, saving ourselves in quarter one to quarter two, planning ahead and booking training in for the start of the year has been amazing.
Really?
Yeah, it really has helped me, because at least I know that I can stagger my training for these students.
Yes.
And my business is covered then, because it's obviously a higher price point for me as a trainer, and I don't have to rely on it being purely service-based. So I think it's really important to diversify your income 100%. Streams in business to protect yourself.
100%, because you don't know what's coming, and you don't know what's coming down the line. And as you say, whenever you're used to being a little bit quieter in January and February, that's actually the time if people are wanting to start that new year, new me, a new skill, new business.
That's it. You have to capitalize on these things too, without being exploitative. I'm there to help people who genuinely want this skill. But like you say, you can plan as much as possible, but you don't always see everything coming. So yeah, I really think it's important to be able to diversify what you're doing. I know you do that really well.
100%. And I think you're always having to think about what your customer wants.
Yeah.
And I know that's something that you were really focused on when you were designing your training courses, because it's what does my customer actually need from this course, not what do I have to teach.
Well, I think, if you want to do something and do it well, you actually have to go right back to, what did I need? When I started this, what did I need? What was missing? And what can I offer that is different? Because ultimately we're running businesses, aren't we? So you want to stand out. It's not just about, giving the service. It's about doing it well and making a name for yourself as that person within that industry. That's the person that you want to go to. We've talked about this for you and your mentoring. It's about making sure that you offer the most value that you possibly can.
Absolutely. And We've all been there where we've done a course, we finished the course, and that's just the end.
And you walk away and you go, what was that?
What do I do now?
Yeah.
No steps. Whereas I know that's something that we've both chatted about, and you're doing it in your training and I do it in our business mentoring, where you're actually there for the person after. So they have your number, they're in a WhatsApp group, you check in with them. Like you're still that supportive person after, because if we're all honest, it's actually really easy to pay the money for the course, and it's actually really easy to do the course.
The training when you've got someone there holding your hand, that is the easy part. It's the walking away and taking the skills that you learned and doing it on your own. You know, I always say, talking about putting on my big girl pants, you have to be able to do that. So it's knowing that level of support still remains once they walk out.
And it's the consistency. It's having the consistency on the other side to implement what you've learned in the training. That's tough. So you need someone there on your off days or on your tough days to say, no, keep going. And I know that you notice with your students whenever you can see them dipping off, and you'll check in with them. And that's something that we do, because that's so important.
Yeah. And I think, you know, you don't know anyone's sort of confidence levels. You meet so many different types of people. So you have to, I think if you want to do something well and show up as the brand that you are making for yourself, you have to be consistent yourself with that. You know, you have to be that person that says, hey, are you okay?
Yeah.
Can I help?
100%. And no, I'm really excited to see where this year takes your courses.
Oh, thank you so much.
It'll be super exciting. But I actually read a thing this week that was all about the fact that one very, very well-known multinational US-based brand actually only makes money 2 to 3 months of the year.
Stop.
Only make their profit in 2 to 3 months of the year. The rest of the year, they're either loss making or break even.
Terrifying.
I don't think I could cope. I think the stress would kill me.
Yeah. Oh.
So frightening. And this is a huge, huge corporation, and they only make profit 2 to 3 months of the year.
No, that terrifies me. I wouldn't sleep at night. You know what I'm like? I'm forever on the phone to you, sending voice notes. Oh my goodness, what do you think about this? I can't sleep. Am I going to prison? You're like, no, you've just waxed an eyebrow. Calm down.
But it's so true.
What if she didn't like them though?
You need to have those people in business that you can go to whenever you're having tough times like that. You need to have those people that you can collaborate with.
100%. We talked about it in the last episode about networking. You just sometimes need some people to keep you grounded, people who know what it's like to be in that space, especially when you don't have maybe, you know, the biggest team around you, because that's just not what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know,
when you've got a small business, you don't have your finance director or your marketing director.
You don't have an HR team, you know.
No.
Yeah.
No, so you do. You need to have someone that you can pick up the phone to. And I know we are obviously starting our accountability session. So for anyone that doesn't know what an accountability session is, Rosh and I are absolutely full of the best will in the world and the best intentions. But sometimes would it be fair to say we get distracted?
I think, yeah, we get distracted. Life gets in the way. And I
Yeah.
think that's only human too. You know, we're moms, we're busy. There's a lot going on. I mean, I don't know how you do it. I say this to you all the time. I think you're absolutely bonkers, but there's a lot going on. So yeah, it's important to set aside time to get your ideas down on paper, because
100%. So yes, we are starting our accountability session. So we're going to meet up every week, every fortnight.
well, let's see.
Yeah, we'll probably do
I have
every
to
week.
say things get in the way.
Probably end up going for a coffee and a walk and work out, right, what do we need to do? What's going to take our businesses to the next level? And then meet up the next week and check that we actually did them.
Yeah.
And if we didn't, right, what are we going to do about it? And I think having that is so important.
It's like having a check-in with your manager, isn't it?
Yes.
Except you're not my manager. I'm
Yeah.
not yours. I'll try. I'll give it a
Yeah,
good
no,
shot.
you can just keep me in check. You can keep me in check. It'll be so fine. I had actually heard during the week that, you know, the way we constantly hear that TikTok and Instagram are changing their algorithm. Well, now Facebook have changed theirs. Did you hear
Oh,
this?
come here. I just don't get on well with Facebook.
Really?
Jenna, I really don't. And I feel like I probably am missing a trick. But talk to me about it.
Right. So Facebook have changed their algorithm whereby it doesn't actually matter how many followers you have now. So they're becoming more of an internet-based algorithm. I hope I don't murder this in how I explain it. But basically, they will push out your content to anyone and everyone, not just your followers.
Okay, but
So
that's not a bad thing.
No, really good for small businesses, because if you've only got 500 followers, it's not a big deal anymore, because they're going to push it out to anyone that's interested in what you're talking about. So could actually be really good for small businesses.
Yeah, I guess it's all about the quality of the content they're creating, though. That's just that's the next thing to think about. But yeah, no, that's actually probably quite a good change that they're making.
100%.
Like I say, I just fell out of love with Facebook because I felt like it was all very much just people writing happy birthday messages, and I just couldn't get on with it. Maybe I'll add that to my list for Monday's accountability session.
Yeah,
Get
check
back on
what you think.
Facebook.
But then your customer, we always talk about playing to your strengths and playing to where you need to be.
Yeah.
Your customer, would it be fair to say Facebook's not their primary social media account?
My target audience, they're all on TikTok, they're all on Instagram, and
Yeah.
I actually couldn't rely on anything other than those platforms. I don't think, to build my business back in the day, it was all Instagram based for me building my business. And it was never really about, if I relied on footfall coming in from outside, I would be nowhere without it. So
Yeah, so you really are. Whereas, you see, each of our businesses is so different.
you do.
if
I think you really need to deep dive on where your audience
Yeah.
are sitting. And I think there is a whole generation of people that definitely are. I look at my dad's demographic, they're all on Facebook. They're
100%.
the users of Facebook. He wouldn't touch Instagram with a barge pole. So for people, for services that he needs, that's where you're going to find him.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the likes of our plumbing and heating business, we have to have Instagram. Whereas for the likes of the bridal boutique, like we have to be on TikTok because so many brides are off that era and generation now.
It's funny. I don't know if you listen to Rochelle Humes much, but she was saying that her whole team have been saying to her, Rochelle, you need to get onto TikTok. You need to get onto TikTok. And she's going, but I just like Instagram. I know what I'm doing there. But, TikTok is the place to be as well.
I even find now, Carl and I, whenever we're trying to search for things, like if we're trying to search for a new restaurant, we go to TikTok. Like we have totally moved away from Google.
Google isn't the place to go. I'm the
No.
exact same. It's a bit like me and ChatGPT. I am using completely different search engines now to find things
100%.
out. If I want to, tips or tricks, even when I'm sending resources through to students, I'm actually sending them TikTok videos through to say,
Crazy.
look, this is how they're doing it.
You see, I think that's crazy too, because in the beauty salon, the girls are exactly the same. So if they see maybe like a piece of new nail art, or maybe they see something new in how to do biab, they would share TikTok videos too. Like it actually has become a training resource, which is insane. And I know as a business owner, if I'm trying to search for, okay, what's the Instagram algorithm looking like right now? Say for fee investments, I'm going to do a training on it. I go to TikTok and I can search for what is sort of the most up-to-date research out there, and you can find it on TikTok.
It's hard because you have to be very careful, I think, between making sure that what you're consuming is credible
100%.
as well. But I do think it's really useful. So I think, circling right back, I think Facebook changing is definitely a good thing.
Absolutely.
To come more in line, especially when we are talking about, a different demographic. People then with smaller businesses are going to be able to reach those people without them having to be physically there following them. You're not having to work as hard for that engagement, which is really good.
And let's be honest, we need all the support we can get out there at the minute.
Definitely.
I know there has been a lot of talk recently about the roadworks going on in Belfast City Centre. Have you heard this? So many businesses have been really badly affected on the high street. Yeah. So because of all the roadworks going on, they are actually now pumping money into some areas of the city centre to be able to basically drive traffic back into those areas because they've been so badly affected. So any tiny bit of support that we can get in a small business is so crucial right now.
Yeah, it really is.
I've even noticed any of the grants that we were seeing coming through have really died down now as well, which
I
is
was
really
having
scary.
a look the other day just as a point of interest, and a lot of them, I haven't seen any for a long time.
No, none that have been really relevant. So we really, really do all need to pull together as much as we can. All our small business owner friends, the people that we know, the people that we can
I think that's the
get
importance
advice and
of,
guidance off.
Like your app, it's
Yeah,
so
it's the
good.
people you can talk to that
Yeah.
you can actually ask questions. If you've already been through something, if you've already went through something, that you can say, here, what do you think? What do you think I can do? I know I'm so lucky to have so many friends and acquaintances that are business owners out there that I can pick up the phone and ask for help. And I think that is completely invaluable. That's what we tried to build in the app for people that didn't have that, that they could get that little network around them, because
like a mini Yellow Pages.
yes, because I don't know how we would have coped without it.
Yeah.
For the mistakes that we made, oh my goodness, like
It's
we
all
needed
part
help.
of it though, isn't it? It's all part of the growth, is the mistakes, but being able to put them down and say, well, listen, don't do what I did.
Absolutely.
That's fab.
Right, so this week I am going to pass it over to you to tell me all about your female entrepreneur that you're bringing to the table this week. So last week I did Amy Small of Odd News. So
Is it
who's
small
yours?
or smale?
Oh,
I don't know. We'll need to fact check.
oh, we
that
really
one.
need to find that out. Sorry, Amy.
No, here, listen, just curious. I want to talk to you about Brittany Saunders. Have you heard of her?
So I hadn't until this week. I think you brought her up, and then I went straight under TikTok.
Oh my word. Personality. She started out, she's an Australian influencer, shall we say. She started out on YouTube, and she now has this massive empire. She owns the brand called Fate label. So she is all about inclusivity. It's a clothing brand, about inclusive sizes, diversity. But the reason I am so obsessed with her, we've talked about TikTok today, and I am TikTok obsessed. It's probably a little bit of a problem. She is just all over TikTok, but the way she does it, I know I've sent you a few things.
Yeah.
She is just so easy to get on with. It's like she's chaotic, but in all of the best ways. She's so, transparent in everything that she does. She's taking you behind the scenes of her business. She's rolling about on the floor. She's doing TikTok trends. But what she does is she balances it over her own personal brand and her business account. And the two feed into each other. So what she does there is she is targeting both audiences. She is targeting her loyal fan base who are bought into her as the brand by introducing Fate the label. And equally with Fate the label, she is then targeting people who want to buy her product, into her personal brand. And the way she crosses them over is just amazing.
And that is no easy task. Let's be honest.
Do you know what? She makes it look so easy. She's just there having a great time. She did this really, really, I think you'll love this marketing campaign that she ran. And instead of her doing, I think it was maybe a Black Friday thing that she was doing, but instead of saying, 30% off, what she did was she took her audience behind the scenes on how she was setting up her campaigns. But the messaging in all of those campaigns was the 30% off Black Friday. So rather than pushing the message of, here is my discount, she was showing them, this is how I set up my ads. This is how I plan my social media. But the messaging was there. And I just thought, that is so bloody clever.
Genius. But we never would have seen that prior to TikTok.
No.
Like, we grew up with entrepreneurs being the likes of Richard Branson or Joe Malone. And you never seen those two individuals take you behind the scenes and show you how their warehouse looked or how they created their product or how they did. That just didn't happen.
And I don't know if you agree, but I sort of feel like way back when you were looking at figures that inspired you, it was always, people who, they were very successful, but they were very, composed. It was all very sort of, this is how I built my success. All very serious.
Proper. Yes, absolutely.
And I think what I love about Brittany is she's so real. It's like you on your happy, hyper, having a great time days, but she would be real too. There are times where she will be crying or, she's saying this has just gone completely the wrong way for me. But you're watching one of your friends build her empire and showing you the journey. And I just think it's incredible to watch. So I'm so obsessed with her. I've started listening to her podcast too, and it's brilliant.
I think there is such a need out there right now to be authentic, and people are resonating with authentic brands and authentic individuals so much more. I don't think as a business owner you can get away with not doing that anymore.
No, I agree. And we were talking about how I've started my training courses, and someone actually said to me, they're not buying your course, they're buying you. They're buying who you show up as online, because it's really intimidating to go somewhere for the first time and not know what you're walking into. And it's really stuck with me. It's something that I've been trying to bring to my own business, is showing up online and bringing my personality to it, because I want someone to walk in and feel like they know me. And that's what she does really well.
That is something that I always find you do really well on your socials. Whenever
thank you.
you do your TikTok videos, that is just you.
Yeah.
It is completely like you've nailed that really well. It's something that I struggle with, and I know a lot of business owners that I speak to, they really struggle to keep up with creating content. It's a full-time job.
But you know what? Part of me, I think that might just be the lazy girl in me, because it's nearly, but no, hear me out. It's nearly too much hard work to think up a persona.
Okay.
Just for your business, because that's just not true to you. So actually me showing up and, you know, I know what you're referencing, some of the stuff that I post is a little bit out there, but it's just me being me. This is what goes on. You know, it's me falling off my chair. It's me not being able to balance my phone. It's me just raking about and I take so much inspiration from the people that I'm seeing that do that so well, because I just think, yeah, people are buying into you and your personality. That's what's going to sell better than any well-polished post or, you know, handout. That doesn't stop people in their tracks.
No, absolutely not. I know any business owners I work with, anyone that I coach or mentor, they always say to me how producing content is just so scary. They don't want to get in front of the camera. They find it really full on. It takes up so much time. And I know I have really started time blocking, and that is something that has helped me so much in my business. Do you do it?
No.
Okay. Well, we're going to try that for next week.
I wish I was better at it.
Yeah.
I'm a serial overthinker though, and I'm very easily distracted, you know, so I would love to be better at time blocking. So any tips you've got for me, please throw them all my way.
We're gonna think of the time blocking tips, but I don't think I could do it. With the number of businesses that we have now, if I used to block days per business. So on one day I'd be in the beauty salon, and the next day I'd be on the bridal shop, and I would navigate it that way. It didn't work. As easy as it sounded, I need to keep all the creatives to one day, and I need to keep all the finances to one day, and I need to separate it that way. There definitely is some kind of functionality in my brain that finds it harder to switch between, I don't know, the different areas of my brain. I can't move from creative to logical thinking.
Well, look, you're balancing an awful lot of businesses, so I guess that makes total sense for you. I guess it's one of those things for me. If I overthink things, I tend to procrastinate away from them. So I'm sort of that whole side of things, you know, especially when we are talking about content and all of those kind of things, that's all reasonably new to me, not as in video form, showing up authentically. So I tend to find that if I'm time blocking, I just go, too much pressure to do this the right way. So for me, it doesn't personally work. I just like to show up and do it as I do it, but maybe there's a lesson to be learned there. Might find if someone gave me some proper instruction, I would do it the right way.
I was actually at a talk not that long ago, a lady Joanne from Chains and Cycles, and Joanne was talking about how depending where you are in your cycle actually resonates with the type of work that you should be doing. Have you heard this?
Really? Well, I haven't heard that, but I get why it would make sense, because I mean, depending on where I am in the month, I can be completely flying around in the sky, chaotic. And there would just probably be certain things that I shouldn't be responsible for trying to achieve that at that point in time.
Yes.
That does make sense.
It's something that I really need to look into more, but it makes complete sense, because some days I am going to get stuff done. Like, I know I always joke about my blue hoodie, and when Jenna wears
the blue hoodie's
hoodie,
on,
like Jenna is
keep
on,
out
like,
of your
get
way.
stuff done. Like, I am just railroading through work that day, and nothing is going to stop me. Whereas other days I am so creative, and I know that I need to focus on those areas. Like, I know some of the girls in our businesses will joke that whenever I go on holiday, they don't want to hear from me for 2 weeks after I come back, because I come back with like 100 different ideas.
Your cup is filled at that point.
My cup
overspilling.
Is so filled. Yeah, I've got too many ideas. I've had too much time to think. I've had too much time for my brain to turn off, and I come through, oh my goodness, beaming with ideas.
Can you switch off on holiday?
No, never.
It's really hard, isn't it?
I get bored. I don't even want to.
Sometimes I feel like I just don't even think I'm going to book a week off, because I just will have too many things that I could be doing. Isn't that awful?
I just love what I do. I really enjoy what I do. So I don't feel like I need time off.
How amazing is that though?
That's such a blessing. But what I do feel like I need is I have to set aside days off to take slower days.
Yeah.
So like I know this week I'm on a 7-day week. It's just the way that it's worked. We've lots on with different businesses. They've different key times on this week. So I will be on a 7-day week. So next Monday I will have a bit of a chill day. So like I'll go see the girls in the salon, but when I'm up, I'll get a facial. Do you know, I played in my strengths.
The perks of being a business owner, perks of being a salon owner.
Has to happen. But you have to pull back some days and you have to push forward some days. And that's something Carl and I talk about a lot. You know, we'll talk about tapping in and tapping out, and he'll say, I'm feeling a bit stressed, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed maybe with the kids and work, and he'll tap out. And then that's whenever I know I need to do that little bit extra, and then I need to sometimes pull back and sometimes I have to tap out.
Yeah.
But it's the same in the business. Some days if I've had a really hectic week, then I know I need to tap out and take that slow Monday after just to reset. Otherwise, on the Tuesday, I could just be in floods of tears in a corner, rocking like a crazy woman, just needing time off.
And that's on being a woman in business.
That is not. I'm not going to kneel. Being an entrepreneur, being a friend, being a mom, being a wife, anything that way.
You can't do it all in the one space. I think there's always a little bit of give and take.
No, and there is a saying, you can have it all, but you can't have it at the same time. Isn't that it?
Is it?
Yeah, I think that's that quote. You can have it all, but you just can't have it at the same time. And I do think that's true. I love my work. I love my kids. I want to be the mom at the drop-offs and I want to be the mom at the pickups, but I also want to have my businesses and I want to grow this empire that I always talk about. So yeah, I can have it all, but just not exactly at the same time.
Yeah. It is about balance.
Well, thank you so much. Episode number 2 in the bag.
I know. Thank you so much for having me for a second episode.
It has been so good. Such a good chat. And yeah, fingers crossed we'll be back for episode 3.
Local Women Magazine presents Local Women Podcast, the show for things that matter.